Hi all. As your development dossier straight proposal is due in now in just under a month, I thought I would do a little quick talk so that you're all clear on exactly what you should be doing. So you're already on the middle page, which is how you found this, but if you want more details about the development dossier written out, then you can find this one of two ways. You can either go to the guide to the module, which is it's called Guide to the Module Assignments and Assessments, and it's one of the sub-chapters under assessments. It's the first sub-chapter, which is Assignment 1, Development Dossier Proposal. You can also find it by going to the assignments and clicking on this assignment, and it will say for more information click here, and that will lead you to this page. So do look at the page on Moodle, which gives you details. So the main things you have to remember is whatever your major is, whether it's a dissertation or creative practice, we're expecting at least 3,000 words from you on that. And whatever your minor is, whether it's the dissertation or creative practice, we're expecting around 1,500 words from you on that. So it's 4,500 words in total, 3,000 on your major, 1,500 on your minor. And the level of details you're going to put in will depend on whether something is your major or your minor and what your exact project is. So for most of you, creative practice is your major, and for most of you, you're doing screenwriting in some form. So what I'm looking for in your dossier or project proposal is an outline of your intentions and your reasoning behind the project, a critical reflection of the context of your project, i.e. What are the films it's like, where it fits in terms of audience, market, that kind of thing. So you're reflecting critically on the context of your creative project. An indicative reading or watching list related to your creative project. So if you're writing a screenplay and it's a thriller, what thrillers do you need to watch to get inspiration, or what books on screenwriting are you going to read to help you to write your screenplay? So that's what I mean by an indicative reading list. That can be as extensive as you want it to be. Hopefully by now, many of you will have a reading list of things that you know that you need to read for your projects. Also include any relevant project planning documents. I've written in here budget, schedule, risk assessments. Now that's relating to production, as well as shot lists and casting and that kinds of things. However, if you are doing a screenplay, I will expect, in fact, whatever your project is, I would expect you to have a schedule of your work. So you can base this on some of the schedules I've put on Moodle, but I would expect you to write a schedule of when you're expecting to do what kinds of documents. This module is largely driven by independent learning, so you're setting your own timetable. So it's important that you have a plan of how you're going to get to that polished feature-length screenplay or your final film that's gone through several edits by the final deadline. So I'm expecting as a minimum a schedule in terms of planning, but you can put any other documents that you've created as part of planning for your project in. And obviously the more planning and preparation you demonstrate, the more you're going to hit those assessment criteria. I think I also want to see you address any potential difficulties that you might have, particularly if you're doing a production, and that includes COVID-19. So I think you need to write a bit about potential production difficulties. I don't mind how this is laid out, but talk to your tutors because they'll be the ones marking. So talk to your supervisors about how they want you to present this all. And I want you to discuss who your anticipated audience is for whatever your project is. So that's if your creative project's a major. If you're doing a dissertation for your minor, what I would expect is a developed research question. And what that means is by now you should have done an extensive amount of reading related to your dissertation, and that will have fed into what your dissertation question is. Once you know what the field is, you'll be much clearer about what questions need asking and what questions you're going to ask. So have a think about that and work on your dissertation question with your supervisor. I would expect an outline of your dissertation. So what it's going to include, what the chapters are like, well, what the headings might not use headings, but what the structure of your argument is going to be, what the central points you are going to be making are. Again, I would expect an indicative reading list. You should have been doing extensive research related to your dissertation, whether it's a major or minor at this stage. So you should have quite a thorough reading list of what you need to read or watch in order to write your dissertation. And then as a minimum, a draft introduction. I think it will help you to start writing that now. If creative practice is your minor and you're writing a dissertation, a 10,000 word dissertation, then I would expect you to write 3,000 words about that dissertation, which would include a research question, an abstract, and talk to your supervisor what an abstract is, but it's basically a summary of what your dissertation is going to be, a dissertation outline, and you probably will have headings, chapter headings for a 10,000 word dissertation. So a clear heading and structure for your dissertation, a reading list, a literature review, which is where you have turned the reading you've done into a chapter. For shorter dissertations, it's just a paragraph or so, where you summarise what you've read and how it's relevant to your question. Yeah, and what really you summarise what's written out there on your topic and show your level of expertise. And then again, a draft introduction. So that should be 3,000 words. I think where I've said dissertation outline, I would expect chapter headings and a brief overview of what's in those chapters, and that should come up to 3,000 words. If your creative practice is your minor, then just 1,500 words outlining your intentions and your reasoning behind the project, and relevant planning documents, etc. I hope that's all clear. Do talk to your supervisors about it in the first instance. If you have questions that they can't answer, they'll come to me. But hopefully your dossier assignment is clear. It's all to help you to be preparing for your major submission at the end of next trimester. So I hope all your projects are going well. Do use the Moodle page and let me know if there's anything else you need to know.